You operate under the false assumption that more time equals better decision. This is a civilian lie. In combat, in high-frequency trading, and in sovereign architecture, time is entropy. The longer you hold a decision in your RAM, the more it degrades. After exactly 3 seconds, your primitive brain, amygdala, hijacks the signal. It stops analyzing data and starts fabricating worst-case scenarios. It asks, what if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I lose money? These are not data points. They are hallucinations. The sovereign architect respects the 3-second window. This is the pure window of deep intuition. Your subconscious mind has already processed the variables in the first 0.5 seconds. It knows the answer. The next 2.5 seconds are for your conscious mind to acknowledge it. Anything after second 3 is fear. You must implement the countdown protocol. When faced with a hard decision, for example, delete the channel and start over, fire the bad client, buy the expensive course, you do not schedule a meeting with yourself. You physically count down 3, 2, 1, execute. The countdown creates a launch sequence anxiety that overrides the fear of failure anxiety. It forces a binary state collapse. You are forcing your brain to jump off the cliff before it looks down. Why? Because action creates data. Hesitation creates noise. If you execute and you are wrong, you get immediate feedback, data, and you can correct course. If you hesitate, you get nothing but stress. A wrong decision executed fast is superior to a right decision executed too late. You can steer a moving car. You cannot steer a parked one. Get moving. The biosensor check is your primary navigation tool during these 3 seconds. Your body reacts to truth faster than your mind. When you consider option A, does your stomach drop? Does your chest tighten? Or do you feel a subtle expansion, a sense of cold clarity? This is the somatic marker hypothesis. Your nervous system is a predictive engine trained on millions of years of survival. It detects bullshit and danger instantly. If option A feels heavy and sticky, dread, it is usually the wrong path or the path of cowardice. If option B feels sharp and scary but necessary, it is the right path. The sovereign architect learns to read these somatic signals in the 3-second window. Heavy equals no, sharp equals yes. You do not need a spreadsheet. You need to trust the machine you are living in. You must also understand the paradox of Buridan's ass. A donkey stands exactly halfway between 2 identical piles of hay. Unable to decide which one is better, it starves to death. Many of your hard decisions are simply 2 piles of hay. Option A and option B have roughly equal pros and cons. The paralysis comes from trying to find the perfect one. The 3-second rule dictates if the options are 51 to 49, flip a coin or just pick the left one. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you eat. By spending a week agonizing over which software to use, Premiere versus DaVinci, you are the donkey starving to death. Pick one, master it, move on. The quality of the decision is less important than the velocity of the decision. Velocity allows you to eat both piles eventually. Paralysis kills you. Finally realize that you are not solving a math problem, you are placing a bet. Life is poker, not chess. In chess, there is a perfect move if you calculate long enough. In poker, there is only probability and aggression. You act on incomplete information. The 3-second override is the act of pushing your chips into the pot based on your hand right now. Waiting for more information is usually an excuse to fold. The market rewards the player who bets with conviction. If you wait for 100% certainty, the opportunity is gone. The 3-second rule forces you to be a gambler with your own life. And the house, the universe, tends to respect the gambler who plays fast. The second phase of the 3-second decision matrix is the instant recognition of door types. Jeff Bezos articulated this for Amazon, but the sovereign architect radicalizes it for personal warfare. You must understand that there are only 2 types of decisions in the universe. Type 1, one-way doors, irreversible. If you walk through, you cannot come back. Examples: selling your company, quitting your job with 0 savings, getting a face tattoo, having a child. These decisions have permanent consequences. They require caution. Type 2, two-way doors, reversible. If you walk through and don't like what you see, you can turn around and walk back out. Examples: testing a new video format, trying a new thumbnail style, hiring a freelancer, buying a piece of gear that can be resold. 99% of your decisions are type 2. Your paralysis stems from treating type 2 decisions as if they are type 1. You act as if posting a bad video is a fatal error. It is not. It is a two-way door. If it flops, you delete it or learn from it. You are back where you started, but smarter. The 3-second audit works by asking a single diagnostic question. Is the cost of being wrong fatal? If the answer is yes, For example, I will go to jail, I will lose my house, then you pause. You do not use the 3-second rule. You use the sniper protocol. If the answer is no, for example, I will lose $50, someone will leave a mean comment, I will waste 2 hours. Then you execute immediately. You do not need more information for a type 2 decision. You need result data. You can only get result data by walking through the door. Standing in the hallway debating with yourself produces zero data. It produces anxiety. The sovereign architect sprints through two-way doors. He opens them, looks inside, says trash, and walks out. He covers more ground in a day than the thinker covers in a year. You must also understand the tuition fee mindset. When you make a wrong decision on a reversible path, for example, you spent money on a bad ad campaign, you did not lose money. You paid a tuition fee to the University of Reality. You bought data. Okay, that hook didn't work. Worth $50 to know that. If you refuse to make the decision because you are afraid of the cost, you are refusing to pay for your education. You remain stupid. The sovereign architect has a budget for bad decisions. He allocates resources specifically to be burned on experiments. He wants to be wrong fast so he can find the truth. Speed of failure is a competitive advantage. The machine gunner versus sniper analogy applies here. For one-way doors, you are a sniper. You account for wind, earth rotation, humidity. You hold your breath. One shot, one kill. High stakes, low volume. For two-way doors, you are a machine gunner. You are providing suppression fire. You don't aim perfectly. You aim generally and pull the trigger. You rely on volume and impact. Low stakes, high volume. You are currently trying to snipe your thumbnails. You are trying to snipe your emails. Stop it. Grab the machine gun. Spray and pray. The market is a chaotic battlefield. Accuracy is overrated. Volume of fire is king. The correction velocity is more important than decision accuracy. Since you are making reversible decisions, the only metric that matters is how fast you can fix a mistake. If you launch a bad product, how fast can you pivot? If you write a bad script, how fast can you rewrite? If your correction velocity is high, you can afford to make 100 bad decisions a day. If your correction velocity is low because you are emotional, stubborn, or slow, you have to be perfect. Perfection is impossible. Speed is possible. Build a system that corrects fast so you can decide fast. Finally, realize that indecision is a decision to fail. By standing in front of the two-way door, shaking with fear, you have made a decision. You have decided to stagnate. Stagnation is a type 1 decision. It is irreversible. You cannot get the time back. The 3 seconds you wasted are gone forever. The bad decision you were afraid of, trying the new niche, was reversible. The non-decision, doing nothing, is permanent. You are killing your time. Fear the stagnation more than the mistake. The mistake is a teacher. The stagnation is a grave. The final algorithm of the 3-second protocol is the understanding that regret is a necrotic force that feeds exclusively on the unlived potential of the paths you refuse to take, meaning that the pain of a mistake is an acute physical wound that heals into a scar of wisdom, whereas the pain of hesitation is a chronic phantom limb that will torture you for eternity with the quiet horror of what if. You must realize that when you stand frozen at the crossroads, you are not preserving your options, but actively murdering your future self, who would rather look back at a life filled with spectacular disasters than a life filled with safe, gray emptiness. The 3-second rule is your contract with the void, a binding agreement that once the internal countdown reaches 0 and you engage the clutch of execution, the decision is absolute and the alternative universes where you made a different choice are instantly incinerated in a nuclear fire of commitment. You must become a master of the post-decision kill, which means that the moment you choose a path, you mentally assassinate every other option so thoroughly that looking back becomes impossible because there is nothing left to look at but ash. This total commitment warps reality around you because the universe has a strange habit of getting out of the way of a creature that moves with blind, terrifying certainty while it delights in crushing the hesitant under the wheels of chance. You are not deciding to be right, you are deciding to be decisive. Understanding that a mediocre plan executed with violent vigor is mathematically superior to a perfect plan that dies in the womb of analysis. When you act, you are collapsing the quantum wave function of your life into a single hard reality, and you must own that reality with the arrogance of a god who knows that the only sin is stagnation. If you buy the camera, you film. If you quit the job, you starve or succeed. If you burn the bridge, you learn to fly. But you never, ever stand on the precipice waiting for a safety net that does not exist. The regret minimization framework demands that you value the scar over the pristine skin of the coward, because the scar is proof that you existed in the physical world, that you slammed into the walls of reality and made a dent, while the coward leaves no mark, no legacy, and no echo. You must utilize the 3 seconds to bypass the ego's desire for safety and access the soul's desire for expansion, recognizing that fear is simply the vertigo of freedom, and the only cure for the dizziness is to jump. There is no right decision. There is only the decision you make right through the sheer force of your will to persist after the choice is made. Stop weighing the pros and cons of a life you haven't lived yet and start aggressively manufacturing the data of your own existence through the relentless, rhythmic output of decisions made at the speed of a heartbeat. The countdown is not a warning, it is a command. 3, 2, 1. Kill the alternative. Archive sealed. The mind is now a weapon of instant execution.